Well, good evening and welcome to the Gold Goats and Guns Hour here on YouTube. And oh, there's the other light. There you go. Oh, and guess I'm probably still doing this on DL. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. It's Tuesday night. It's January 18th, 2022. My name is Tom Luongo, and well, you're not. So I'm not sure what we're going to talk about tonight. Well, I do know what we're going to talk about tonight, but it doesn't really matter, as it were. We're going to do this for about 15 minutes here on YouTube. Then we're going to move over to Odyssey. If I was a little late getting started tonight, it's because I had to make sure that I got the Odyssey stream set up properly so there would be less turnover. Yes, I think I actually got the thing started properly this morning. So, all right. You would think that after 4 fucking years of doing this, that I would actually be, I don't know, halfway competent at it. I honestly don't care. So, Thordoom's in the house tonight. It's good to see you, man. So always nice to see some old faces coming back for the show. It's always a good thing. All right. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Well, newsletter is out for those of you who care or for the 20 of you who watch this thing that aren't actually subscribers. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, you can do so over at my Patreon at patreon.com/goldgoatsandguns. You can follow me on Twitter at TFL1728. Even Twitter sucks, but it's still fun. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Twitter sucks, but hey, it's still fun. So, it is what it is. And then, of course, you've got the blog over at tomluongo.me. So let's get started this evening. We're going to riff off of some of the things that are in the newsletter this month. FYI, I spoke with Alex Craner this morning, and he's going to be on the podcast. We're going to record a podcast next week. Hopefully, I'll try and get one together with Dexter for later in the week. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The schedules are going to be a little weird the way things have been going. So, hoping to try and get another one of those. I really should. I've been trying to get some other people on, but trying to get some other people to pop in, but just scheduling and a variety of other things. So is what it is. So that's all of the housekeeping out of the way. What I really want to say, and what we're going to talk about when we get over to Odyssey in a little bit more detail, is I really do think that we've reached kind of the end of politics. Oh wow. So I really do think we've reached the end of politics as we've known them. And one of the things in my lead article for the newsletter this month that I went over is that, look, politics is supposed to be the art of the possible, right? It's supposed to be this, kind of the art of what's possible, right? And that means that it's at some point we all have to kind of compromise, come together, negotiate, and figure out what it is we can live with while not getting everything we want, but eventually trying to persuade the other side to get more of what we want later on. Is that where we are today? Do we see anything like that anywhere at any level of the political system? I don't. What I see is a bunch of people yelling at each other, give me what I want or fuck you. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about, because everybody has reached, as we reach the end of this epoch of history, right? And it is an epoch of history. We're not talking about like just one normal cycle here. We're talking about the end of a cycle of cycles, if you believe it all, in any of the work that Martin Armstrong has done. But you can get that feeling, like if you look at this, that what we're dealing with now is worse than what we dealt with during World War II, which is worse than what we dealt with during the Civil War, which is worse than what we dealt with during the Revolutionary period, blah, 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 blah. This is something different. What we're dealing with here is something fundamentally different. This is physical in terms of the planet's relations to the sun and the solar, the solar plane. It's different in terms of the ideas that have dominated, the political and economic ideas that have dominated our thinking for the last couple hundred years, of all reaching a kind of crescendo. And those ideas are proving to be all wrong. And it's bigger than the fourth turning, guys. So Google and Jack Robert brought up the fourth turning. I think it's far worse than just what Strauss and Howe talked about in the fourth. Okay, I think it's much bigger than that. I think this is more like Martin Armstrong's public versus private wave kind of thing. This is a 309-year cycle. And so, and FYI, I'm reading everybody's comments as they go through. So if I'm not commenting on them, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I'm trying to finish this opening monologue, and then I'll cover some of the comments as well. So I really do think that that's where we are. The Democrats can't compromise on anything because they don't have any room to compromise, and Davos won't compromise on anything because they don't have any room to compromise. The neocons won't compromise on anything because they can't compromise. They have no room to compromise. If they compromise on anything, they lose everything. So it just has to be, give us what we want or we'll shoot you. And that's where we are. It's interesting, actually. I don't know what came over me the other night. And one last thing before we go any further. I don't know what came over me the other night. I got sucked into watching one of the Wolverine movies. It was 11 o'clock and I was bored and I didn't want to go to sleep. The one where he's in Japan. And it was okay. I mean, they were all okay. But then it got me to go back and watch the second X-Men movie where Famke Janssen dies. And then I just got finished watching the third one like an hour ago. And how interesting is it that the plot of that movie is literally what we're living through today? One would say that it's programming. But they developed an injection to cure people of being a mutant so that they could return to normal society, starting a war between mutants and humans over the cure for mutation. It's interesting. And it just, like, the whole thing rang very reminiscent of what we're dealing with today. I'm not saying it was good, because it really wasn't very good. It was, whatever. I always liked Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I thought Logan was good. But, I mean, the rest of it is, like, you know, it is what it is. You can stand there and look at Famke Janssen all damn goddamn day long. Well, I'm a man. So... But other than that, like, I right, like, that sometimes these things just kind of, you know, play themselves out. Now, these movies were made fucking 2006. So if this is not, I don't think there's any correlation here. I don't think anybody was like planning any of this. This wasn't, you know, on the drawing table back in 2006. You should do a movie. You should, you know, we should seed this into the narrative or anything. I don't buy that. I don't buy. But I do think it's interesting that was the plot of, and it's, for whatever reason, I'm like sitting there watching this going, oh, look, looks like today. And, you know, that movie ended in a whole lot of violence. And it was going to end in a whole lot of violence. And I think that, you know, the way we're going now, when you're thinking about the concept of the end of politics, because if people aren't negotiating, if there's no negotiated potential for a negotiated settlement, then they have to start fighting each other. There's really nothing else. There's really nothing else possible at that point. So before I leave YouTube and we pop on over to Odyssey, where I can speak a lot more freely about whatever it is I feel like, I want to address a couple of things that people brought up in the chat, just to make sure that I cover everything. Good to see that. Hope that Thordum, I hope whatever medical problems you had were over. That's awesome. I hope they're awesome. If that's the case. I want to note that, yes, I did see that there was the pipeline explosion. That's the one that comes in from Azerbaijan. That was the Baku, the Baku Tbilisi Ceyhan pipeline. That's the one that blew up. That's interesting, and that happened in Turkey. If I read it correctly. If anybody's wrong about that, it's interesting. They're going to send oil to $100 a barrel. They're absolutely desperate to try and continue to destroy what's left of the middle class and the and modern society, because they need to rebank this. So as the Fed keeps clamping down on, it keeps signaling that they're going to clamp down on dollar flow, right? Schwab and Xi Jinping were, in fact, kind of grousing about the Fed yesterday at Davos because, well, China's in trouble with their property market is blowing up, and multiple companies are continuing to blow up, even in the wake of Evergrande, which comes as no surprise to anybody who watches this channel. So, what are they going to do to try and force more liquidity into the markets? When they're going to force the Fed into to stop rate hikes before they even start? I don't know. Crashing the world economy is a great idea. Not allowing trucks to traverse the border coming into Canada, blowing up oil pipelines around the world, starting a war in Ukraine. The more I look at it now, like last week, I really thought this was all over. Today, I'm like, are they really trying to start a proxy war in Ukraine? Are they really going to just push military assets in Ukraine, regardless of what the demands are? And, are they going to actually push for this? It's a good question, because it's feeling really, really odd. So, oh man, I mean, of course, Thordium says thanks for the kind words. I'm like, of course, dude, you've been a fucking fan of this channel for 5 years now, for Christ's sake. Come on. Did we win versus Davos yet? No, but we're winning. Like every one of their projects has failed to capture the kind of market share that they actually needed to capture in order for them to win. You have to understand that when I say that Davos is going to lose, and I'm going to cut this one off real quick and then we'll go over to Odyssey. When I say Davos is going to lose, they're going to lose because they have to win everything to win it all. They don't have any margin for error. They either put the entire fucking world under a dystopian Chinese-style credit system with central bank digital currencies where all the oligarchs are all on board with this, or they fail. Okay? There is no, well, they got half of it in place. Doesn't matter. 20% resistance is enough to unwind the whole fucking thing over the course of 20 years. I mean, what they want to build is something that's supposed to last 100 years. They're never going to pull that off. A Ukraine war means more than just the EU freezing, Jack Robert, but that is the most immediate threat. Understand that the Europeans continue to not order gas from Gazprom through the Yamal pipeline. German gas reserves are down to under 50%. The Germans admitted this morning that they have 17.7 days, or now 17.5 days, of gas left in the system. They won't approve Nord Stream 2 for another 5 months until until Nord Stream 2 complies with the EU's third energy package. Where are they going to get this energy? Like, this is being done on purpose. This is a planned destruction. Okay? It's a planned event. This is no different than COVID. It's a planned event. Do I think they're intentionally getting these package trains robbed in LA? No. I think they're just taking advantage of it all. I think that's how far the whole infrastructure in LA has fallen. What do I think of the president, El Salvador's president meeting with Erdogan? That's news to me. I did not know that. All I saw from Bukele today was El Salvador don't give a fuck. That's what he tweeted. He said, breaking. This fucking guy is like the best. He's like, he tweeted out this morning, breaking. El Salvador don't give a fuck. I love this guy. So, Carl's customer, hey, if you can get, I'll take an invite from anybody. So if you can get George Gammon to reach out to me, that would be great. If not, I understand. It is what it is. Okay. Oh my God, I'm going to buy more gold right now. Well, I would, and your spelling is bad, and that doesn't matter. You're right. Poland is now buying Saudi oil. Yes, they are. After watching it for 18 months since Indy Jones 1970, I finally made it onto a live stream. Hello from Japan. Well, good. Well, hello from DeSantistan, as Alex Craner put it to me in a DM this morning, which I think is hilarious. All right, so we're at that mark. I'm going to move over to Odyssey. I'm going to put the link to. Let me see if the thing's finished, because it's Odyssey. Hold on for a second. It is live. We have a stream. Why are there two? Okay, there's one. All right, great. That's the stream. We're doing that. Let me get the link real quick. Boom. There's the link to the stream for those of you who are not used to this one. And I will see you over there in about, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes. Just give me a couple of minutes to get it all put together. So you guys be well. You take care. We'll talk soon. Hey, we'll talk in like 2 minutes over on Odyssey. Be well. Keep your